The world's a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. And we are here to talk about the NBA Finals. We have the great fresh faces, new ideas with us. And let's break down some Celtics and Mavericks and some other NBA news. What's up, faces?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Matt?
I'm great. Great to see you. So here's our finals. Boston Celtics, Dallas Mavericks. And the first two games have been, I guess, a bit underwhelming, but who knows what could happen in the next four games, next 5 games if necessary. But so far, the Boston Celtics are leading the Dallas Mavericks 2 games to none, two pretty comfortable, dominant wins on their home court for the Celtics, and the Mavs are going home down 2 games to none. What are your first initial thoughts on the first two games, faces?
Well, the first one is this is like an underwhelming series. Like it's not. I mean, game one, the Celtics blew them out like immediately. Porzingis looked great. They didn't have an answer for anything. It was just over like immediately, and then it kind of wasn't. They came back in the third quarter. They got it to 8, and then like 2 minutes later, it was down 20, and the game was they never close again. Um, they should have won game two. Dallas should have won game two. Um, it had all the hallmarks of a Celtics collapse. They couldn't hit shit. They were like, what was it, 6 for 39 from
Yeah,
3-point range?
Drew Holiday
Uh,
was your number one scorer that game with
I
26.
think Drew Holiday should be Finals MVP at this point.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. He's really
the
carrying.
they almost blew the lead again.
And
Porzingis got hurt,
yep.
and then but like Dallas has just been bad. So I was looking at a stat. Um, when it comes to players who've made threes in this finals,
Mm-hmm.
Luka's first with 8, and the next 7 players are all Boston Celtics. Nobody in Dallas has hit at least 2 threes in this series. Like Kyrie's been terrible.
Yeah.
Like as bad as Jason Tatum has been offensively, at least he's, you know, his drive and kick stuff is starting the offense. Kyrie's just been bad. Like they've gotten 2 corner threes. They've had maybe 3 lobs. Kyrie can't hit the broadside of, well, he can hit, that's all he's hitting is the broadside of barn. Like, he can't hit any of his open shots. Derrick Jones Jr. can't make anything. Um, they left him open and he airballed it.
Mm-hmm.
PJ Washington's been okay, but he hasn't been as good as he's been recently. And then, like in the third quarter, they were going to Daniel Gafford for, you know, option number 1. Which honestly, to be fair, they probably should do a little bit more if Tatum's going to be guarding him. Just try to pick up those fouls and force him like some help. But like, there was a moment, there was like 3 possessions in the third quarter of game 2 where they put Jaden Hardy in to like give him like that spark plug thing that he'd been doing.
Yep.
Drew Holiday picked him up and immediately did nothing. Like if you watched him for those couple possessions, like he wouldn't even dribble the ball through here. Like it was just Drew Holiday was like, yeah, no, you're not gonna do anything. And then he just never came back in again. But Boston hasn't been good, but Dallas has been bad. Like other than Luka, they haven't been great. Um, and I thought it would be closer. I think they'll probably win game 3, and I don't know if we'll see Porzingis in game 3. Um, and I think that
Yeah.
might be a little bit of the smarter thing, um, because they have breathing room, right? Like they took care of home court. So like if they drop game 3 because Porzingis isn't healthy, you can still, you're still confident that you can win game 4 and then finish it out on your home court. Like because when they haven't had an answer for Porzingis. And honestly, like if he had played like he did in game 1 for the rest of the series, he would have been Finals MVP. Like he was unbelievable in game 1. But they're Boston's just better, and it's like the fact that they're up 2-0. Tatum has, I think it's the worst field goal percentage of any player who's taken as many shots as he has or played as many finals games as he has in his career. And it's like unbelievable how bad he's been. And he's not decisive. Like he's kind of been scared. But it's, they're deep enough that it hasn't mattered.
No, it doesn't matter. And do you think Jason Kidd can make any adjustments to make this series a little more competitive? I think it's clear that Kyrie is the ultimate factor if this team is going to, hang with the Celtics. Don't you think? It's all on Kyrie. I feel like that's, despite all the adjustments Kidd can make, it's really up on Kyrie to step up.
Well, I think one, yes, having Kyrie play better would certainly help. I don't know how much better Kyrie's going to play. He just hasn't played well against the Celtics in the past, and especially against
Yeah,
this type of backcourt.
I think it's 0 for 13 right now, including playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Since he stepped on the Celtics logo when he was on the Nets,
yeah,
the streak continues.
Those were weird teams, but he hasn't. He even if he plays well, like it doesn't mean that Tatum's not going to play well. So it's going to basically wash it out. Like their supporting cast is better. I think Drew Holiday was like 11 for 14. Their perimeter defense is not good. Like they're getting by everybody whenever they want. And also, like, I know it's weird, but like having Gafford do a little bit more, or maybe try and lively a little bit more in the post may actually help open some stuff up. But I don't know how you do more perimeter defense, and like you could potentially do some more like small ball with Kleba and then Derrick Jones Jr. But like if that's not going to work if Porzingis is in, because you can't go small against Porzingis because he's taller than everybody anyway. But like I really do like the Mazzulla thing where he has basically whoever Kyrie's guarding is like in the dunker spot, so that when they drive, they're there. That's how Drew got like half of his points. Is he's literally just sitting there and they drive, and he just waits for them to collapse and they throw the bounce pass. He makes a layup. Like they're just deeper. And this is if the Celtics win this in 5, or maybe they sweep them. Like they're going to be like kind of an asterisk team, kind of like the 2020 Lakers. But
Yeah, a lot
they
of
were
people.
really good this year.
Right.
Like they were the best team in the league, and it's not
Still
their
won
fault. Everyone
63
in the East got
games.
hurt.
Yeah.
You still got to win those games. They still had to do it, and obviously, yeah, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to repeat next year, which would be like the real thing. Like, oh, they're actually this good if they repeated. But yeah, this is still like, yeah, their finals record is their playoff record is going to be a little bit more lopsided. Like, I don't think this team was better than Denver's last team, and they were 16-4, and they really should have been 16-2. Like this Celtics team, they're what is the thing, Bill Simmons? They're like 80-20 this season in total.
Yeah.
It's like some stupid, ridiculous thing. But they've lost 2 games in the playoffs, and it was partly because they haven't played anybody besides Luka, who's had their best player available. But also, they've had some. They could have dropped a couple of those Pacer games. Most of those Pacer games were close. They had that overtime game. I think it was game 1 was the overtime game. Like,
yeah,
they took care of business. They're going to get unfairly maligned for it. Tatum is going to get killed for this because he just hasn't played well. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to, come out and drop 40 the next 2 games and, turn things around. But he just hasn't been, as good. And he's like, it's not that he's bad. He's, just not the ultimate guys. Like he's not the top 5 guy in the league, which is fine because they've built this roster that's like incredibly deep and has a really good chemistry. They have good switchability. They could all shoot. They're just like unbelievable. It's a very well put together team. They're probably going to win the finals because they're the best team.
Right. And this would be a big opportunity to cement. He does have some legacy games right now. And ultimately, look at the stats. Your overwhelming favorite is the Celtics to win it all. And if Tatum wants to get that notoriety, he will be one of the big factors winning those next 2 games. And also Jaylen Brown, he's been fine. He hasn't been overwhelming, but he's been fine. And remember he made his promise. What was it, going to win 5 rings in his first 7 years, something like that. This is a chance to finally win one too. But yeah, you just wish it was a little more evenly paced, and you wish it was more competitive. But I mean, you could just see on the court with the eye test, especially that the Celtics are overwhelmingly better than the 5th seeded Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, the only reason like game 2 wasn't a blowout is the Celtics couldn't hit a three falling out of a boat. Like
Yeah.
they couldn't find waterfall. They just shot like garbage. That was the only reason the game was close.
Doing the traditional just throw one of the games in the first 2 games like they've done in the
Well, that
last
was
3
the thing.
series.
Like this was the game every Celtics fan was afraid of. They
Yeah.
were gonna blow a late game execution. They couldn't hit their threes, and they still won the game. Like that's the problem for Dallas. Like that's the game you need to win. So
Right.
now they're in a hole. Like their really only hope is Porzingis is. I think he like dislocated his tendon. I don't even
Yeah, I
understand what
have
this
the
is.
exact injury right here. So at this moment, Porzingis is day to day after suffering a torn medial reticulum, which has caused a dislocation of the post-cervicis fibulus tendon. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's just say dislocated tendon.
yeah. Like I don't know how long that takes to recover. Like the closest thing I think I've ever heard of anything is like remember like 4 or 5 years ago where uh Chris Middleton had a hamstring injury and the way they described it is the meat fell off the bone. Like that's
Yeah.
the what I'm thinking, something like that.
And I saw that fall late in the third
Yeah, he was
quarter.
started limping in the game.
Yeah, and then they had to put Horford back in. And man, this guy just can't catch a break. And especially so at least getting a ring can tap it off, can at least make more satisfied. But he was incredible. And at the biggest stage, he showed he could at least step up when fully healthy, but I don't know. This is just
Yeah.
hopefully there's a
I mean
special circumstance
that's
because
gonna
it
be
is
the
the
swing thing.
finals.
It certainly would be a lot closer if Porzingis isn't playing.
Yeah.
This is also assuming Tatum continues to shoot what like 18%, where he was like 6 for 22 or something last game, right?
Yeah, I have it right here. Jason Tatum from the field. Excuse Jason Tatum from the field in game 2. Yeah, 6 for 22. Going 18, 9, and 12. But still, we still want those superstar numbers to be even better, and 1 from 7 from the 3 as well. But you got to give it credit for. I know they only are playing on a 8-man rotation, but role players been stepping up for the Celtics, and that's a lose some really good coaching from Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, they've got a good deep team, and we'll see how things go. I imagine they'll probably play if Porzingis can't go, they'll probably play a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Rather than like throw some Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman type stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what they would do because I think the spacing for them offensively is worth whatever like post up stuff that's going to come from Gafford and Lively.
Yeah. And just poor Luka too. At least he showed he's not afraid of the moment. You just wish his supporting cast would help though. But at least he's
it's
put
not
up a
like his
fight.
well, like we talk about this, but like his supporting cast has been good basically all postseason. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't like if this version of PJ Washington and Derrick Jones showed up, they wouldn't have beaten Oklahoma City. They wouldn't have beaten Minnesota. Like they just wouldn't have. So like yeah, it sucks that they're not playing great in the biggest moments, but this isn't like 07 LeBron where he was like his best player was like Gaustis and
Mo
Gibson.
Williams, Anders
Like
Varejao,
these
yeah.
were like these are like actual guys who have played really well. They just don't have a super high offensive ceiling outside of Luke and Kyrie. They don't have any creators. That's what they need. They need the third guy to be able to dribble. And that's basically what every team needs. You either need like what the Celtics have where everyone can put it on the floor, or you need at least 3 people.
Hey, is it frustrating you, Derek White, being a former Spur? Getting his
No, man,
shadow
I love
moment?
Derek White. But I actually have a different question. Derek White left on good terms. It was we basically got jack shit for him. I want to say it may have been the pick that turned into Lucas Samich, but don't remember what exactly picked. We got Romeo Langford and then what's his face? The Josh Richardson, and they were terrible. They were just so bad. But good, good on Derek. He's he deserves this. He is so fucking good. Like, but not having Derek got us Wemby, and I'd rather have Wemby than Derek. Listen, if we're gonna remember the times of Derek, he posterized Paul Millsap in the playoffs that one year. So we can live with that. But good. But actually, I have a question for you. Who do you think is madder about this? About Porzingis playing well in the playoffs or in the finals? Is it the Knicks or the Mavericks?
Especially looking with Knicks Twitter and Knicks Reddit groups I'm a part of, I really think more Knicks fans are happy for KP, to be honest with you. And the experiment didn't work out, and without the help of Melo and his endorsements, it was a lost cause. But I think the Maverick fan is clearly more upset, especially seeing him literally dunk on them in Game 1. That's what I'm going with that. What about
Because
you?
it's not even like he played poorly. Like that's the thing with him. It's not that he wasn't great with the Knicks. They also weren't great. Like he didn't really have a lot of health and he kind of sucked. Like he didn't really know what he was doing. That was just a weird era. But I think was Derek Fisher one of his coaches?
Yes, he was. There was Derek Fisher, there was Frank Ntilikina, and Jeff Hornacek were the 3 coaches. Remember Dave Fizdale too?
Dave Fizdale was a good coach.
With just a bad roster, the Knicks kind of messed up his coaching numbers, but see him trying to help it up. I mean, you weren't going to work
that
with
would be
Frank
an interesting
Ntilikina.
option for the Lakers. I thought he was a good coach.
Yeah, we'll talk about that right after this.
The thing with Porzingis is it's not that he's bad. Like some guys go other places and they're better. Like he's just hurt. Like he's the same. Like he may just be hurt now. Like him being hurt may ultimately win them that title. In the same way, him not being hurt may lose them the title. Like it's the same thing.
A cold irony. I mean, 7'3" and body's flimsy. He was really skinny. He was on the Knicks. Gained some more weight, but it was just been tough. And you really feel for the guy. But I like KP. We had traded when we did, and it was just I wouldn't be upset to see him winning that title. And we'll see ultimately where Game 3 goes, as Dallas is a 2.5-point favorite. Now to wrap things up, though, we had some head coaching news in the past few days. Obviously, it was well documented that UConn's head coach Dan Hurley met with the Los Angeles Lakers for possibly seeing if he was interested in coaching the Lakers. Ultimately, the Lakers offered him, I believe, a 6-year, $70 million contract, and he turned it down. And the reason being that he wants to see if he can complete the first ever three-peat for NCAA's national championship. And that he just likes the culture there. I mean, you really have to love Storrs, Connecticut more than go all the way to Los Angeles. But I'm really interested to think of what did you think of that potential? And now that that's behind us and Hurley staying at UConn, what do the Lakers have to do? I also think it showed the Lakers were pretty desperate if they were willing to snatch him like that. But some people feel that they could have made a bigger offer too. They did. It wasn't more than Monty Williams.
Well, Monty Williams is like the worst coach in the league. He's fucking terrible. It was interesting because it kind of came out of nowhere. It's kind of like I think he made the right decision. I don't know. I think James Borrego is probably going to ultimately be the guy.
No, JJ
unless
Redick.
I don't know if they're going to offer him enough. Because I think he can. I don't know why you'd want to coach this team. I think I would rather coach.
Hurley noticed that too.
Outside of this Lakers team, I think Phoenix may be the only team that may be in a worse place to coach. Possibly Milwaukee. But speaking of which, had you seen Clipped at all?
No, not yet. I saw it got great views, but I've seen the clips and the stills, and the actors portray these NBA players. It's hilarious.
The actors portraying these NBA guys don't look anything alike. First off, they're not. They didn't even try to put them in the same. The guy who played Chris Paul is the same size as DeAndre Jordan. I'm pretty sure the guy they picked to play Steph Curry is Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I saw
They don't look
that.
anything alike. The Matt Barnes guy kind of does.
The
But
JJ
like,
Redick role kind of looks like him too. And Lawrence Fishburne, though obviously a legend in the game, I don't think he was. Doc Rivers was as big as portrayed, like literally as big as portrayed in
yeah, no, I don't think.
Reels there.
Yeah, it's a very weird castage. It's a weird show. Just on that, but like, yeah, no, I don't understand. I think Dan Hurley made the right, because it's not like he's not going to be able to get another NBA job if it opens. It's like people were talking for years about hiring Kevin Ali when he won the two UConn titles.
Yeah.
Like UConn's one of, like, they're always gonna, like, whenever you win a title, they're gonna be like, oh, maybe this guy will come out. Like I saw a report too that Jay Wright was apparently an option for this team
For the
at one point.
Lakers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. I heard that they allegedly approached him, but I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. But I wouldn't be surprised. That's what I'm saying. Like, try to just go for the biggest college day with LeBron still. Do you feel like JD Buss is desperate at this point with the Lakers?
Well, they're in a weird spot because like a lot of the newer owners have other ventures that make their money. Like Steve Ballmer's a Microsoft guy.
Yep.
I didn't realize who actually owned the Mavericks now, but it's Sheldon Adelson's widow, and all she does is political donations and war crimes. So like they make money else. I think they do real estate, but the Buss's money comes from the Lakers.
Yeah,
So
it's their
like they're
life.
tied into how good the Lakers do. So they're in a weird spot. Like I don't know how you. I'm going to be honest. Like if I'm the Lakers, you really got to have a conversation with LeBron about, like, listen, are you going to stay here and make us like gut the rest of this for the rest of the decade, or are we going to like, or can you like ceremoniously decide that I want to go play in Philly or I want to go play in Miami or whatever? Because like they're fucked.
Yeah, he's holding them back.
But like we talked about this briefly, but I don't know how they make the playoffs next year. I don't know how the Kings make the playoffs next year. I don't know how the Warriors make the playoffs next year. Um, there's just the West is just deep as shit. There's maybe, like, if you took the Eastern Conference playoffs, other than the Knicks and the Celtics, I don't think any of them made it. They're years in Chicago, and that roster just is dog shit. Like I think he had like 2 years of continuance in Oklahoma City where there wasn't a massive roster overhaul, and that was like it.
And that's why I thought maybe for a second with the Kentucky job opening, would he just said he had enough, but no, he wants to still try to accomplish it in Chicago, which he definitely could admire.
Yeah, I don't know why he'd want it. I think the Kentucky job probably would have been better.
Yeah, you're treated like a god out there, and for a team that could still attract with NIL and all of that, and ugly exit this playoffs, it would have been looked at great, but not this time with him. But yeah, you made me laugh about who's the coach willing to sacrifice their record, and that's why that Dave Fizdale would be a good one because his record's already fucked anyways from the Knicks. So, and he is a LeBron, he's boys with LeBron, so bring him in.
And it's not like JJ may ultimately get the job, and I honestly I don't think he's not a guy who cares. I think he just wants to coach because he was trying to get the Hornets job, which, to be honest, I'd kind of rather have the Hornets job because at least you got something. Like you got Brandon Miller, you got probably Ron Holland. You can, you have at least a year with LaMelo to decide whether he's going to be worth it, or then you can trade him for a boatload of picks. Because somebody's going to be dumb enough to trade for LaMelo. Right. You should immediately cut Miles Bridges.
Still waiting for that.
It's disgusting that he's still in the league. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like, I don't know, man. It's a carousel. But good on the Lakers for stealing headlines. Like,
yeah, right.
I think it's
during
partly
game one of the finals
too. Draft.
Right. Which I'm really excited to talk about.
I'm so excited for this draft.
Because it really sets the tone with how the rest of this is going, especially this transition of eras and generations. A perfect time to have a great draft and a deep one. But we'll obviously cross that bridge when we get there. Just one last thing with Clipped. I just saw the critic. I don't know if you are somebody who takes any merit with Rotten Tomatoes reviews. I do. I think they're pretty spot on for the most part. They have a 88%, which is really good. It's insanely good. And their critical consensus: sordid and soapy as befitting the story of Donald Sterling's fall from grace. Clip's terrific ensemble brings this memorable cast of real-life characters to vivid life. Think that's an accurate consensus?
So maybe because there's two problems I have with this. One, I don't remember how long Rivers was there before the Sterling thing happened, because I feel like it in the show it's a year. It's like the first year he's there, and I feel like it was longer than that. I thought he was in there at least a year before that.
So yes, he started in 2013. I believe Sterling. I'll find it right here. Sterling was dismissed when Silver came in, and he got banned in April 2014. So
Right. So it's kind of like the timeline's a little loose, and the players not looking at it just like, oh my god. There's a scene where they're in practice and he's yelling at them, and you see the actor they have playing Big Baby, Glenn Davis. It's fucking terrible. It's so bad. It doesn't look.
Is the
They just
actual
got a
basketball good too at all? Like, is the actual basketball sequences good? Like, can you tell at least the professionals, or is it like messy?
It's like, like when like regular TV shows do basketball and they're trying to like hype up that this is like a really good person, but it's not like over the top like in John Connor Must Die, where he's like dunking from the free throw line in between his legs, where it's like super unnatural. It's like believable basketball, but not like NBA believable basketball.
I see.
And I think that's partly because like they're not even like relatively close looking to the players. But I mean, yeah, it's if you can get over the horrendous way that they made the people look, it's an interesting thing. Like I don't remember all of what happened. That I didn't follow it super closely.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to talk to a Clippers fan what they thought of it, or somebody who was like around that time.
You must feel, if you're a Clippers fan, so liberated, because next year with the new arena, and I don't know if you've seen this arena coming out, it is as state of the art as it gets. It looks like a stadium, really, and now they could call their own. It's their staff. They don't have to be. I mean, I guess you'll always be the little brother with LA, with the Lakers sharing the Los Angeles name, but at least it's more like Yankees, Mets in baseball.
What's the name of the arena? Because I know Staples is now Crypto, which I still can't believe they have that as the name.
I actually think they're actually. I heard a report they're actually changing it back. Staples got the rights, and then Crypto got Tom, and the whole crypto industry going south. They are planning to take the name back.
Like that makes sense.
So it's called the Intuit Dome. You know, Intuit. I believe that is a.
I mean, look, like they're going to be relevant simply because they're better than the Lakers. And they're always going to be like this. Ooh, if they're all healthy, they're going to be dangerous, depending on what happens with Paul George. But like, they're never all healthy. Like, I don't know what you're going to do with this team. You're going to re-sign James Harden. You may re-sign Paul George, and you'll just be like, a second round out. Maybe you get lucky and go to the East. But like, hell, if Kawhi gets hurt again next year, they may not make the playoffs.
Man, and you definitely know that they have to pay for that. It looks like here $6 billion arena, so they
Steve
definitely
Ballmer
want the
is like the richest. He's like worth $4 billion.
True. You still have to want a good product though, don't you think?
Well, yeah, but
you know what's crazy? I'm looking right here. So the Clippers go as far back as 1970, beginning as the Buffalo Braves, and go to San Diego, then end up back in LA. But it's just hilarious here. In a 54-year history, no championships, no conference titles, only 3 division titles, and it took till 2013 to actually get it. And well, now you might have something cooking. Maybe more interest in the Clippers with the new show. We'll see where they ultimately go.
Yeah, but if you were gonna like try to generate interest for the Clippers with this type of show? Wouldn't it make more sense to do it as like an off season or like closer to the season thing, kind of like a mini Hard Knocks thing?
Yeah, I think you should do it in like September and October,
Yeah, I
but
don't know
I
how
don't
much
know.
interest this generates in the Clippers, especially like if you saw like, especially since none of the players in this are on that are on the team. It's not like it's not like Blake Griffin's walking around and they're like, "Hey, you look nothing like the actor." Like Blake Griffin's not even playing anymore. How could they not
That's
just
right,
get
retired,
Blake
just
Griffin?
retired.
Like,
I don't know. Need something. Like I said, for you're a true Clippers fan if you stayed this long.
or you like their cheap seats. I imagine their seats are probably way cheaper than Lakers seats to get like season tickets and stuff.
Right. You
So
just
if you
wonder now
wanted
with
to
this
go
new
see like,
arena though. Yeah, you see
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
Like I think Bill Simmons said he's a season ticket holder solely for
yeah,
the
that's what
value
I.
of that.
But I mean, it's not like Bill Simmons isn't wealthy. He didn't he
True.
sell it to Spotify for like $100 million or some shit.
Yeah, the arena there, and I'll rock it and roll with it. I'm having fun seeing his coverage of that. But regardless, though, things are on the rise with this. Also, closing in on these deals with the TV deals. Once that's officially acknowledged by the NBA after the finals, that'd be something to get into.
TNT lost. They lost. TNT lost it, right? That's what my understanding is.
So they lost it, and they're trying to make one more push to try to get a 40-game package a year.
Which, like,
No
I don't know.
playoffs.
I still think Amazon is the mistake. Um, Especially if you look at how Amazon did the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you would say that's the better option than even if they're giving you less money. They have they have a stable crew that has like at least at least a decade
Oh
of
yeah,
like.
and you could see the support on Twitter and online. How people are really upset that they really are looking like they're going,
And
and they couldn't make a
I
push.
like the HBO Max thing with TNT. That was like a really good um like deal that worked really, like, because people don't have cable in the same way, but I can still watch it through, like, if I like, my girlfriend doesn't have cable, so I can go watch it on the games on the smart TV if I want to watch them there.
Yeah, and they definitely have the money. A lot of people are blaming this on the CEO of the conglomerate Warner Media, David Zaslav, who I don't know if you're following, had a lot of controversies in the last year over taxing issues with Warner Brothers, like Case Link movies, so they could get tax write-offs. This is a guy in Charles
They did that
Barkley's been trying to make that
with the
push.
Wile E. Coyote and the Batgirl movie, right?
Exactly, yeah, completely. They filmed it and everything just to save some money, and this guy ultimately made the final decision to put the bid with the NBA, and look at where we're at. And I even saw during the NBA press conference for the commissioner's State of the League that would ask about TNT. Adam Silver just shot it down, didn't want to talk about it, so he's probably fed up with them. Well, they've had a partnership since, with David Stern's go dating back to the early 90s, and it's unfortunate. But at least, NBA also gets an old partner in NBC back.
Yeah.
And this will lead to expansion too, so you'll likely see two
We're gonna
franchises.
get an expansion probably within the next 5 years.
Yeah, I saw Albert Silver said right now 3 cities have been mentioned.
It's gonna be
Vegas,
Vegas.
Seattle. Yeah, that's definitely one. And the other one, it looks like it'll be Seattle. He even mentioned Mexico City.
They're not gonna do Mexico City. It's gonna probably be Vegas and Seattle, and then they'll just move one of the Western Conference teams over to the Eastern Conference. And I think
Right.
it's like, um, it maybe New Orleans and maybe San Antonio, because I think at one point San Antonio was an Eastern Conference team. I know Bill Simmons wrote about this in his book, but I haven't read his book since I was in college. So
Yeah.
that's what's like. I don't know. There isn't an East Coast city in the same way to like get it. Like Seattle, you have the history, and Vegas is Vegas. Like, assuming it doesn't become uninhabitable because of lack of water and the heat domes and stuff. But like, um, that's where the expansions will be. And that's going to be like fucking crazy when they do the expansions. That should, because we haven't had it. This is the longest period without an expansion in the NBA's
Yeah, it
history.
hasn't been since Charlotte in 05 when the Bobcats
And
came in.
and this is the deepest pool of talent we've ever had.
Yeah.
And especially like if they wait till say 27, the 25 draft is supposed to be really good. The 26 draft is supposed to be really good. I don't know anything about the 27 draft other than Wemby's brother's in it. I think that's Carmelo's kid. I think it's that. I
Wow.
think we're that far out.
Carmelo's kid, jeez. Hey, time's coming, but the NBA is definitely in a good place. You just hope that the finals can get a little more competitive. And we're going to be back after game 4 to see where the finals go. And I look forward to talking to you then, Faces. I'm going to check out Clipped. I will be caught up. I see even a new episode drops tonight. And
Yeah, I was watching it when I watched it a couple days ago. It said there was 4 episodes, but then when I went back to look at it like yesterday, there was only 2. And I don't know if that what happened with that because I looked at it both under the Disney one and then I went to Hulu to check it out.
So according here, it's going to be a 6-part mini series. They did drop the first 2 concurrently, the 4th, and now 4 more to go. And like I said, I'll catch up with this and we can do a nice solid review on it. So it should be fun. But great work, Faces, as always. Catch you after game 4. And I hope you have a good night. And I really hope that this series gets tighter. I really want it to go as deep as possible. At least get it to 6. All right. See you later, Faces.